My name is Joe Rose. I'm with Plymouth Tube Company. I'm the account executive for the Western States, which just means I'm an outside guy with a lot of travel. Industrial Metals was just brought on by Plymouth Tube as a distributor of our 4130 ProMoly product, which I think in the long term is a very good thing for you guys. I'm going to start off by giving you a little overview of the company, and then we'll get more into how the product's made, where it's marketed, and whatever I can do to help you guys sell the product.
Plymouth Tube Company is a private, fifth-generation, family-owned business. We started in 1924 by my grandfather and my great-grandfather, and today we have 11 manufacturing facilities, all in the United States. We manufacture tubing and extrusions, and our customers value us because of our years of experience and our highly engineered expertise to help them solve some very challenging problems that they have. Here in the United States, the largest challenge we have is the economy and rebuilding our revenue line. Number two, we operate in an environment that is not very supportive or encouraging for manufacturing. And finally, we compete with imports from around the world, from low-cost countries. Interestingly, though, we also export to those same countries where their engineers need a highly dependable, highly engineered product that we can supply.
The company's products are at the heart of trucks and farm, construction, power generation, and oil and gas equipment. The company manufactures critical components for the commercial, aerospace, and defense industries. These components include parts for engines, landing gear, hydraulic control systems, and the fuselages of airplanes and helicopters.
Plymouth Tube Company has been in business now for 86 years under the same family ownership. You don't find that kind of stability in the business world very often today. For example, our products were used in the Spirit of St. Louis when Charles Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic. We were also involved when the nuclear industry first started generating power with very innovative products that nobody else wanted to supply.
Today, the aerospace and nuclear industries represent significant markets for Plymouth Tube. Properly designed and manufactured tubing components offer higher efficiency, longer lifespan, and less downtime. There's
a bright future for manufacturing in the United States for companies that are innovative and use the minds of their employees to compete around the world.
Streator was started in, which is the mill that produces, I would say probably 90% of our 4130. They also produce 4140, 1018, and 1010. It is all seamless. They operate in a 100,000 square foot warehouse. They've been in the building since 1968. We currently have 53 employees. It's a union plant, and we run 3 shifts. Right now we're running 3 shifts 5 days a week. We have the capabilities of running 7 days a week if we have to, but right now the carbon business has slowed down a little bit, so we're down to 3 shift days. Originally, the plant was set up to enhance the Winamac product offerings, and I'll show you Winamac just in a little bit. That's our hot finish mill that provides hollows to the Streator plant. Streator also buys hollows on the open market. Streator has focused on small diameter, 4130, small diameter being 2 inch and under, and that's for distribution, aircraft markets, racing markets. Those are probably the 3 biggest markets that the mill has. It was originally a rail car mill. It was bought from a rail car mill, like Holiday. They refurbished rail cars. They took in old rail cars, made them new, and shipped them back to the railroad so the railroads could reuse the cars. It's built on top of mine shafts. The mine shafts are still there because if they had collapsed, so would have the building, and the building's still there. Multiple floor elevations on the building due to the rail car manufacturing, so that when you walk through this plant, you're walking at up, down, around, up, down, around. It's not flat. So you put on a good pair of shoes and hope you don't slip in the oil, although we do a pretty good job of cleaning. It's also the origination of the ProMoly branding, and the ProMoly is a trademark for 4130, exclusively made by Plymouth Tube. So if you see 4130 on any tube and it doesn't say ProMoly, it's not ours. Regardless of whether it says Plymouth or anything, it's going to say ProMoly on it. If it doesn't, it's not our tube. It's a quiet surprise on the prairie, and you can't find it if you don't have a GPS. It offers tours of wind farms and haunted cemeteries, and it's located in 2 places at once because it's in the middle of 2 counties. Okay, the original bricks for the Brickyard 500 or the Indianapolis 500 or the Indianapolis Speedway were made in Streator. We have a very strict safety and accident investigation policy. Everything is investigated. We take every step to ensure the safety of our employees, as well as the equipment itself. Focus and culture of Streator, and this is basically overall what Plymouth believes, is you do the right things in the right way for the right reasons. To be different, you have to do things differently, which we have done in the past by just designing different alloys for different applications, working with engineers. We have a very extensive engineering department. We have engineers in all the plants, plus we have corporate engineers. So if anybody runs into an application that they think may not be able to be done, please give us a call. We have, between our stainless side and our carbon side, over 200 alloys. We listen to our employees. There are no locks on the doors in the corporate office. You can walk into any office anytime you want to and talk to anybody about anything. We continuously look for process improvements, pickle lines, furnace surface conditions. I will give you an example. The Trent plant, which is one of our main aerospace stainless plants, just invested $1.5 million or $1.9 million into a new furnace, which is a multi-stage furnace, which most stages are 1 or 2 stages. It has the ability to heat up and cool down in the same cycle. These are some of the parts that are used that we make. We make the tubing for, shock absorbers, the little tubes that are the ejection for the airbags, also refrigeration tubing, and parts for ATVs. This is an overall view of the Streator, Illinois manufacturing tour.
After receiving our raw material, the first step in the process is to anneal the tubing so that it can be cold drawn. Our annealing furnaces are roller hearth furnaces that introduce a normalizing or soft anneal into the process. This subsequently gives us the ductility we need to produce the tubes. The purpose of the pickle line is to apply a dry lubricant coating to the tubes in order for them to be subsequently cold drawn. The system is comprised of 7 tanks. The tubes are cleaned, subsequently acid etched, then introduced to a zinc phosphate subcoat, and finally a sodium stearate final coat. This final coat gives us the drawing ability for the cold drawing once the lubricant is dried. Once the tubes have been pickled, they're transferred to our pointer operation. The purpose of the pointer is to put a nose or a point on the tube that is small enough to fit through the die for the next pass. Sometimes it's pointed for 1 pass or for 2 passes. Once the tubes have been pointed, we come to the draw bench. In the draw bench, the tube is run through a die and over a mandrel to reduce the cross-sectional area. We can perform this function twice in the cold drawing process before we have to anneal the tube again and repeat the process to further reduce the tube. Once the tubes have been drawn to their final size, they're transferred to our finished furnace where they receive a final thermal treatment. Once the tubes have had a final anneal, they're not completely straight. The 6-roll rotary straightener applies bend and pressure to the tube, enabling us to ship a straight piece of material. Once the tubes have been straightened, they're transferred into our eddy current tester and subsequently our stenciling equipment. The eddy current tester non-destructively tests the tubing to ensure no defects, and the stencil is used to identify the tubing for the customer. Once the tubes have been straightened and eddy current tested, they're transferred to the finished saw. The finished saw is utilized to cut the tubes to the final customer's lengths. After the tubes have been straightened and eddy current tested and cut to finished length, they come to our final inspection area. Our final inspection area consists of a final dimensional check, a check for length, a check for stencil, and tallying to the finished bundle size to meet the customer requirements. After final inspection, the tubes are staged and ready for shipment.
Sizes and grades, this is an 80-20 chart, which will tell you, briefly looking at it, that 71% of our so-called sweet spot sizes are from 1/2 inch through 1. And the wall really doesn't make any difference. The 90% of what we produce is 4130 out of the plant. We also will produce 4140, 1018, and 1010 in seamless. The quantities vary. 4130 is a 5,000 foot minimum per size. I want to show you this real quick. This is just, they threw it in here and it's actually pretty good. It's about a company that uses our product to build racing car frames. And they put this frame together in this race car. The race car hit a wall 120 miles an hour. The driver walked away, but I just kind of wanted you to see what they had to say about the product.
ProMoly is a tube used in the racing industry that's a high-performance tube. It is tightly toleranced, has great formability, repeatability, and a superior finish that the fabricators really like because of its ease in the fabrication process for welding.
Art Enterprises is a company up north of San Francisco. This is the actual frame that hit the wall.
I feel it's a much safer product because of the quality of weld you can lay down. Improves the safety of the car because a better weld makes the car hold up better in an intense crash, and that's the big thing right there.
If I was a company starting out, I would definitely consider using ProMoly tubing. I mean, like I say, it's consistent and the bendability, and it's easy to work with. It welds great, and we find nothing better.
I've tried other products similar to ProMoly, and the finish in the material wasn't as nice. It was more difficult to weld. It seemed a lot less pure than the ProMoly tubing.
Yeah, well, through the years, all the manufacturers and fabricators know the style of material that they like. And it's hard to tell your tubing supplier, I want the good stuff, because what is the good stuff? And by being trademarked ProMoly, it was an easy way to, that's the stuff. I want ProMoly, that's the good stuff.
We get inquiries from medical applications, which is really small stuff. That's not a big part of our business. Military, mostly in ammunition. Recreational would be ATVs, racing cars, little four-wheel carts that run around, and mining. Mining and drilling, construction, agriculture equipment, auger applications, oil field tools, rebar couplers. That's actually a tube that was made as a hexagon and then threaded on the ID so that they could just screw in their tools. And we do a lot of these type of shapes. Steering columns, aircraft seating and components, 4130 for the seat frames, telescoping applications for downhole water testing type applications, airbag deployment in the steering column, small plane bodies, race car chassis. That's becoming more and more of a big thing for us. It was a lot bigger three or 4 years ago before the market tanked. But now as we're starting to pick up and the economy's improving a little bit, we're starting to see more and more of that. And the rifle receivers, the scopes, those are all made from 4130. This is basically, we go to market, distributors like yourselves, we have a 5,000 foot minimum per size. While it seems large, it's also designed to protect you guys from your own customers. We had one inquiry the other day for 40 feet of 1-inch 095 4130. Okay, we don't do this and send it back to them. I get everything through me. All the inquiries you call in will eventually come through my email. So I'll be able to put off, if they try to go through the internet and contact us, I get it first. So you don't have to worry about me or Plymouth trying to take your customers from you. We don't do it. It's just not good business for us. We find very few customers that could make up for an entire distributor. And we just don't have the people, we don't have the time, we don't want to mess with it. So we don't do it. That's why we have distribution. If an OEM comes in, it's a $10,000 minimum per line item. So if they want to come in, and we would still probably discourage it somehow, especially if we know that it's one of your customers and if we recognize the customer. The grades, you can ask for any grade you want, even if it's out of our normal, you don't see it in a brochure. And then we look at potential overall business on distribution. That helps us plan for the future as far as raw material acquisitions and staffing and equipment. Tubing specifications, usually we'll do, this should have been tolerances, it's not. But on the specifications, we'll do a MIL T6736. We also do the AMS T6736, which is the real new one. And then we do ASTM A519. If you've got a machining application and the guy asking for A519, that's fine. All your the quarter inch is coming in. I think the 2-inch that is on the road now is dual certified. We can go back and recertify something if you absolutely need it to be done to A519. But if the customer knows what he's doing, he should be able to accept the MIL T6736 as an alternate because it actually has more testing. 1/8 inch through 2-inch out of the Streeter plant. Standard tolerances on the wall plus or minus 10. We can do in-house cut lengths from 4 to 40. We do charge an extra for anything that's not 17 to 24. Those are the random lengths. You can put it in order for 17 to 24, aim for 20, aim for 24, aim for 40. You can do anything you want to that way and not pay an extra, but we don't guarantee you're going to get what you ask for. Stocked grades, we don't stock any tube on the floor. This is raw material grades. These are raw materials that we do stock on the floor in hollows. 1010, 1018, 4130, 4140. Your specs are there. We can do the AMS specs, and usually if you've got a cleanliness requirement, we can handle that. You see more AMS in the aerospace than you do in the commercial end of it. Size ranges, they're on a chart that you guys have on one of the handouts. 4140 size ranges, it's a little smaller range, but 1 3/8 max on that one. 1010 and 1018, we do so little 10 and 1018 seamless. We do a lot more in DOM than we do in seamless. But 1 1/4 max on that. 1 3/4 if we're coming out of the Euphora plant, which is our Mississippi plant that actually produces most of our DOM tubing. But that's mostly in 1018, 1020, 1026. You may be somebody that's using bar. These are just standard things that you can use. Less handling time, less machining time because there's no hogging. Increased tool life because there's not as much machining. Reduced heavy drilling, more parts per pound, possible higher mechanical properties, less waste, increased productivity, less cleaning, collecting, and scrap. If you got somebody that's machining out a bar and it makes sense to do it out of a tube, in other words, you don't have to gun drill a lot out or hog a bar out a lot, then you're probably better off to switch them to a tube if you can. We also do shapes. We do squares, rects, ovals, streamline. Any kind of shape that you can have a print for, we can do if it's within this size range at finish, which would be 1/4 to 1 3/4 OD, and the walls from 020 to 188. Lengths depending on application, short lengths available. We have a saw. I mean, we can cut. We can also do 4130, 4140, and up to 4145. Shape tubes, those are kind of give you an idea at the bottom rather than me read all that. There's squares, rects, hectagons. There's a splined ID carbon tube. That's basically what that part, they were mating those parts. And this is a part this part was made into this part. And these are near net shapes. So we gave him a part that was close enough to him to finish. And that's what we do. We do have an extrusion mill, an actual extrusion mill that will do near net shapes. It's located in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. It's 100% OEM business. There's no distribution involved in this plant just because of the technical aspects of the product itself. So if you call for an extrusion, even if you have a part number, you may or may not get an answer. I'm going to warn you. And if it's really something you need to please call me, and I'll see if I can do it, or I can see if I can get them to quote it. Square size ranges range from 3/8 square 020 up to 1 1/4 120 wall. rectangle size, 3/4 by 1/2 by 020 up to 1.5 by 1 by 095. Streamline size ranges, 3 dimensions. You have the part that goes this way, then you have the part that rounds, and then you have the wall thickness. So, and they vary from 3 3/8 to like down to this small, tiny. We do have the capability of centerless grounding. We also have machining capabilities if you have a machine part. We have certain equipment back in Streeter. If somebody's got an interest in having us finish a part for them, just send me the print and let me know what you want to do with it, how many pieces you want, and we'll see if we can help you. We offer we'll respond usually within 24 hours or the same day. Our lead times right now are 4 to 6 weeks. We can possibly get it out in 3 to 4 if it fits in our production schedule. We have a no-fault return policy. In other words, if you get a piece of tube or you get tubing that you don't like for whatever reason, it's out of tolerance, it's got scratches, it was handled improperly, you send it back, we remake the order. The whole order goes back. We remake the whole order and reship it to you. And there's basically no questions asked. I may ask you to send a sample ahead of time so that they can evaluate it and to see what the problem was before they start the remake. Small diameter heavy walls, that would be to us like a 1-inch 188 wall. We're capable of doing that. We're ISO certified. And if you have any questions, ask. You guys can always email me or call me on my cell phone. I'm usually available 7 days a week, unless I'm at the river. Then I don't answer the phone. I'm just telling you that. Okay, I'm going to show you this because this is the hot mill. There's no sound to this. Okay, I'm going to kind of overtalk the video, but this is basically how we get the hollows to get to Streeter to get redrawn into tube. You're starting with bar. Take it inside, drop it on a table. Stick it in the furnace and just heat the living bejesus out of it. Okay, here you go. Watch this. There goes the ram. Instant hole. The ram's coming through, piercing the tube all the way through, comes out the other end looking like that with the hole in it. Then it's scaled. It removes the scale. It's coming out of the annealing furnace. You notice how nice and straight it is. This mill is about 300 degrees inside because everything they do is hot. I mean, the furnaces are all on, the amount of heat that it takes to run it. The annealing furnaces, the hot furnaces, the hot mill itself. That's where it's being swedged down so that they can pull it through draw bench. This is getting back into the Streeter presentation because they kind of run together. But I just want to give you a quick overview on how a hollow is actually made from a bar.